Now, with his thoughts, Anthony Scaramucci, founder of Skybridge Capital, who served on the Trump Transition Executive Committee. So, Anthony, thanks for being here tonight. Good to see you, as always. You heard Ed's report. What do you make of it?
Well, listen, I mean, there's a lot of smoke in this White House. I think one of the most unfortunate things for the president in dealing with this are the leaks, Martha. And so what I hope happens over the next couple of months is that the leaks die down and the internecine fighting that we're witnessing from the outside dies down, because it's just not serving the president well. As it relates to changes, my guess is that there'll be a lot of deliberation about that, but the president, at least the person that I know, is a very thoughtful, very strategic guy, and so I don't think he's going to do anything impetuous. Moreover, I think we have to give these guys credit on a lot of different things. They've prosecuted so far a decent agenda in the House with the health care program. They're working on the tax reform situation. I think the trip, by everybody's account, went very well. That was staff-related in terms of his organization. So I don't think there's going to be a rush, Martha, here to make these changes, but despite you hearing the smoke. What I don't like is that people are shooting at each other as opposed to just calming down and focusing on the team and supporting each other.
Yeah,
so that's the problem I'm having with
Lewandowski and Steve Bannon are sort of known as the players who let Trump be Trump on the campaign trail. Now, the people who are in there, some of them are perhaps designed to give him, sort of that more presidential presence, to be sort of soften the edges a little bit of the president who, is his own man and always is true to himself, shall we say. So which is better, do you think?
Well, certainly letting the president be the president and his personality is way better. That's the person that the American people love. That's the person I've gotten to know and love. And I think that's a great presidential person. So all of this nonsense about trying to modify him, I think, number one, it doesn't work. Number two, it's not going to serve the president's agenda. And so if there are people doing that, I would probably tell them to knock it off. But I think the president is very much in charge. He knows exactly directionally where he wants to go. But he's also a consensus builder. He's probably reached out to people and asked them for advice. Yeah, well, but we got to give these guys some credit on the inside, Martha. I think what we're hearing from the outside is this constant litany of criticism, the newspaper articles, all this other stuff. There's an agenda that's been put in place that they are executing. If I'm going to be critical of anything, and I always try to be an effective spokesperson because I love the president, but I would be critical of the leaking. I think it's got to upset him that there's some level of disloyalty and self-service going on by people that are leaking and shooting at each other. I just think it's inappropriate, and frankly, at this point, is somewhat unpatriotic.
I hear what you're saying. I want to pull up this Monmouth University poll, which took a look at some different individuals, but it took a look at the president. It says, does President Trump do more to help or more to hurt when he speaks for the administration? And this goes to the suggestion of, that he needs to be more out in front and be his own spokesperson. 61% say he does more to hurt his own message.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I mean, listen, I've seen a lot of these polls before, Martha, and I am a statistician by training, but I sort of don't buy that. Yeah. Because he's an incredibly effective communicator. Maybe he's not speaking in that flowery, rhetorical flourish that people, quote unquote, like hearing.
But it may be that some of those people who respond to that are talking about the times when, the tweets misfire. They may be sort of saying, well, sometimes when he speaks that out, he does himself damage, and sometimes he helps himself.
Well, what we both know about the legendary Roger Ailes, may his soul rest in peace, is that he threaded a narrative every day on the Fox News channel. And perhaps the communications team should think about that, how they can thread that narrative and use the president, who I think is an incredibly effective advocate for his own agenda, as part of that narrative going forward on a daily basis. So for me, when the president is out there, he's an incredibly likable person. You can't go places in the Midwest. Maybe the coasts have issues, Martha, but in the Midwest, they absolutely love this guy. And it's easy to see why, because he wears his heart on his sleeve, and he really wants to do the best he can for the American people.
Thanks, Anthony. Good to see you tonight.